Good evening, you're watching No Spin. I'm Nidhi Razdan. Well, with just days to go for the big prestige contest in Gujarat, the results of Haryana's Panchayat polls have been watched with great interest. The AAP did surprisingly well, coming in second to the BJP, but only in terms of the number of seats. I'm coming to the vote share in just a moment. The BJP won 22 seats on the party symbol, so they were in the lead, but they've lost in some key areas, so there actually have been some serious setbacks for the party in Haryana. The AAP then won 15. The Congress did not contest the Panchayat polls on their party symbol. In fact, Congress leader Deepender Hooda tweeted earlier today that the results were a shock for the BJP-JJP alliance, but also pointed out that the real winners were the independents. He says the AAP's vote share was just 3%, the BJP's 5.1%, but independents have a vote share of 86.8%. So that kind of puts things into perspective. So is this indicative of a larger political trend where perhaps the battle lines are increasingly going to be between the AAP and the BJP, or are we reading too much into this? Joining us first on the program tonight is Deepinder Hooda. Thank you very much, Mr. Hooda, for joining us. Tell me why you say that this isn't a question of the AAP doing so well. I mean, look, just purely in terms of seats, they have come second to the BJP. So why do you say that we should be dismissive of this?
Nidhi, your program is called No Spin. So I hope, and my great respect for you personally and for NDTV as a media platform, which still holds my regard. So I hope, there should not be any spin. I'm actually disappointed today for the first time with NDTV, where you're running a show saying that AAP springs a surprise. You know, when Congress got 5% votes in Delhi, did you say that we sprung a surprise? I mean, they got 3% votes here. I mean, when Congress got 4% votes in Andhra Pradesh, did you say that Congress spun a surprise?
But they were a non-entity before this, right?
No, you have to understand. 3% vote share for any... what's the big story? The big story from Haryana Jila Parishad election says that these parties contested on symbols. And the people of Haryana, 87% of them voted for independence. Congress party said that we are not going to contest on symbol. People want to vote for independence. We will support wherever the independents are they deserve our support, or there are workers. We are not going to vote on symbols. When 87%, 9 out of 10 voters are telling you one thing, that's not a story. See, I'll tell you one more thing about Aadmi party. About 1 month back, there was a by-election in Haryana. That was the assembly by-election. That all the parties were bound to contest on symbols. BJP won that election fairly. It got 49% vote. Congress party got 42% vote. And Kuldeep Bishnoi, who had switched sides and went to BJP and contested on a by-election on a incumbent government's ticket, BJP's ticket, his margin came crashing down from more than 30,000 votes when he contested on a Congress ticket in 2019 to 14,000. And Congress vote share there jumped from 10,000 to 52,000 in that assembly. And Aadmi party, how much they got? They got 1.9% vote. Did you run a story that Aadmi party is dead in Haryana? Because that's the election, that's the political. In Jila Parishad, when they got from 1.9%, their vote share increased to how much? 3%. And now you are talking about number of seats. How many seats did Aadmi party got? They are saying 15, but actually it's 14. 14 seats Aam Aadmi. BJP how many? 22. How many independents won? How many Jila Parishad
300 plus.
360. So these are the 360 independents which defeated Aam Aadmi party and BJP.
So are you saying the AAP factor, because Arvind Kejriwal, Deepinder Hooda was quick to jump into this and tweet today that this is a sign that Haryana too is going to go for the Aam Aadmi party. So is this, are you saying this is an exaggeration, the threat of the AAP? But is it not actually, not just Haryana, Deepinder, look at Gujarat, look at Delhi, look at Punjab. Can you dismiss them?
That's why, I hope that's the reason why I'm saying that you as a neutral political analyst need to see this. Kejriwal has jumped and said that great victory for us in Haryana because we have won 3% votes. 3% votes. Now he's the same Kejriwal who has written that लिख के दे रहा हूँ कि हिमाचल में हमारी सरकार है, लिख के दे रहा हूँ गुजरात में हमारी सरकार है. You'll see what happens in Himachal and Gujarat. It's not too far away. You know, झूठे दाव करने, I replied to Kejriwal's tweet also. झूठे दावे करने की भी एक सीमा होती है, लेकिन मीडिया को भी समझना चाहिए. You know, Kejriwal does something and gets, 3% votes. BSP, you know how much BSP has got in Haryana in the same elections? 2%. And you are saying Aam Aadmi Party is close second to BJP. Actually, INLD is more than Aam Aadmi Party. Is 3.1%. But what I'm saying is, why are you not talking about the 88% vote share that the independents got, which were backed by the Congress? 88%, Nidhi. If in an election, suppose you are covering an election of a parliamentary seat, Manpuri election is going on, some parliamentary seat. One independent wins, getting out of 10 lakh votes.
But can I ask you, is it a tradition? Is it a Congress tradition not to contest on the party symbol?
Let me finish my point.
Why didn't you contest on the party symbol like the others?
No, that's our strategy.
Okay, that's always been a...
That is. Listen to me. So, that is our strategy. We don't contest the rural panchayat election on our symbol, and people have voted and proven our strategy to be the correct strategy, because 90% of the people voted independent. See, this has been always our strategy. Our strength lies in the rural areas. From the rural areas, we have most of our MLAs, almost 30 of our MLAs are from rural belt, and we do not want to divide our forces and our own workers, because overwhelmingly our support is with us in the rural areas in Haryana. That is why Aam Aadmi Party is getting just 3% votes.
Okay, Deepinder Hooda, if you'd like to stay on, please do, because I just have to go across to the other panelists. Reena Gupta is here from the Aam Aadmi Party, Ranbir Pathania from the BJP, and Ashutosh is with us, one of our favorite analysts on this subject. Thanks very much to all of you for being with us. Reena Gupta, how do you respond to what Deepinder Hooda is saying? Is there an exaggeration in the way the AAP has also interpreted these results in Haryana?
I love it, Nidhi, how entitled these Congressis are, They do really badly in an election. They are so scared that they don't even bat. And then they have the cheek to come on national TV and say, कि जितने भी निर्दलीय थे वो सारे कांग्रेस के वोट्स थे.
I have never said that. I have never said that on the record. I have never said that. I have never said that independents are all Congressis.
He didn't say that. He said the real story from this election is that independents have got nearly 90% of the vote.
And you've got 3% votes. All your candidates have lost because of independence.
Can I complete, please?
Yeah.
Can I please complete?
Don't
no, it's great. Congress should continue to live in their la-la land. That is what they've done in Gujarat for 27 years. That is the reason Bharatiya Janata Party has been ruling Gujarat for 27 years. One thing is very clear, Nidhi, from Haryana elections, that it is only Aam Aadmi Party, Arvind Kejriwal, that can take on BJP, that can defeat BJP. And you're going to see a repeat of this in Gujarat as well, which is also an indication that the good work
that we've done in Delhi, we got 4% votes.
Why are you going on interrupting me? Mr. Hooda, can you keep quiet? Let me complete, please.
Okay, one second, guys. Let's not get personal. Reena Gupta, the point is Deepinder Hooda is giving us figures.
Who's getting personal, Nidhi?
Yeah, one second. I'm just saying that let's look at the figures. Let's not get into generalities that I will win and you will lose and all the rest of it. If you just look at the data, he's right. The independents have done overwhelmingly well. That tallies with what we have seen as well. Independents have done overwhelmingly well.
Okay,
so
Nidhi,
is there too much of an interpretation being read into this? And let me ask Ashutosh to jump in here. Because Ashutosh, I'll come back to you. Reena Gupta, I'll come back to you. Please, let's we're all trying to just. It's been a long day. Relax. Ashutosh, if you could just weigh in on that, how do you look at Haryana? Is it something the BJP, however, will take seriously regardless?
See, if I had been a leader of Bharatiya Janata Party, then I should be really worried, because this shows that the BJP is going to be routed. If that's the case, then it's a real worry, because the BJP is government at the center. BJP is government in the Haryana, and 10 years of BJP, and the BJP is known for a very massive organization. With a massive cadre and resources, and if still they can't manage to win substantial number of seats in these elections, then that means BJP has to be worried about. As about Aam Aadmi Party, I just want to remind you, 2019 when assembly elections took place, then Aam Aadmi Party has got less percentage of vote than the Nota. So Aam Aadmi Party should not be very happy. I would have been really worried if Congress had contested election on the symbols and then Aam Aadmi Party has got these number of seats. Since Congress has not contested election, so it will be slightly difficult to assess Aam Aadmi Party's presence in Haryana. And don't forget, when Aam Aadmi Party contested, then Arvind Kejriwal has said, "मैं तो हरियाणा का छोरा हूँ, और I am the son of the soil." And even then, they hardly got more than a 1% vote share. So Aam Aadmi Party should not jump to any conclusion, but certainly it's a great worry for the BJP itself.
Right. Ranbir Pathania, do you want to comment on that? I mean, I'm sure you would concede that this is not a great performance for the BJP. The BJP also did badly in its traditional strongholds in Haryana. Therefore, is this a wake-up call for you, regardless of whether your main challenge is coming from the Congress or the AAP at the moment, or from others?
Nidhi, let us all see the statistics in a further state of mind. We should say we have won 15 seats, Zilla Parishad seats in Haryana, and a major number of independents. I don't have the statistics to quote, and a major number of independents have been supported and have been backed by Bharatiya Janata Party. So far as the point which is on the carpet today, that Aam Aadmi Party extended its claws and tentacles here. Number one, the complacent and we could call agenda-less, direction-less, purpose-less Congress losing the way to Aam Aadmi Party. And secondly, we should admit also that the footprints of Jat agitation, which showed its way in Punjab and might have been Haryana, might also have been a bit of a curtain raiser to it. But the point remains that Aam Aadmi Party will not be able to make a scale with due respect to what my Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson has been going to do. We will come to know what Gujarat results are. We will come to know what Himachal Pradesh is going to do. We will come to know what Delhi MC will come to know. This is a Mr. U-turn party. Just 1 second from unity. This is a U-turn party. He said that मैं पार्टी नहीं बनाऊंगा. उन्होंने पार्टी भी बनाया. He said मैं चुनाव नहीं लड़ूंगा. अरे चुनाव भी बनाया. मैं लोकपाल बिल लाऊंगा. अरे भाई लोकपाल बिल तो आया नहीं.
So you clearly, you're being dismissive. But Deepinder Hooda, let me ask you a larger question in terms of the larger national picture at the moment. Look, the fact is that the AAP has done very well in Delhi and it has occupied the space that the Congress did in Delhi, right? They've done really well in Punjab. They're trying to do what they can in Gujarat. The jury is out about whether that will work. Given this track record, especially in Delhi and Punjab, would it be foolish to not take a challenge from them seriously, is my question, even in Haryana?
See, no, I think Aam Aadmi Party, when it won Punjab, there was a talk of Aam Aadmi Party amongst the people, and especially in the North Indian states. But the performance of Punjab's government, which can be seen in the result of the Lok Sabha by-poll also, where the Chief Minister vacated his own seat and got defeated from Sangrur, which has never happened in the history of Punjab, Haryana. And that performance is now carrying over to both Himachal and Haryana. And Haryana, we have a very strong, Congress party has got a strong leadership. So I think our states were the states where the initial conversation about Aam Aadmi Party was beginning. Now, I'll give you one example. By the way, Ashutosh has a very important point, which was the first point. The actual story of this, the results of Zilla Parishad polls in Haryana is the big setback for BJP and JJP. 5% vote share for a ruling party contesting on symbol is a big setback. It proves, also goes on to prove that Aam Aadmi Party, INLD and BSP, all of whom got 2 to 3% votes each, are non-factors in Haryana politics. And people are unhappy with the BJP-JJP government and want to change. The point about Aam Aadmi Party, another important result in this context, Arvind Kejriwal had put all his political capital into a by-election poll in Hisar, which is his hometown. He said, I am from Hisar, my relatives are here, I've studied here, I grew up here. And in Delhi, I have a government, in Punjab, I have a government. In this by-election, in fact, he went there and announced the ticket. He was there for 6 days, held a road show. Bhagwant Mann was there for a week, etc. Ended up with 1.9% votes, lower than Nota. This is 1 month back. 1 month back. So,
let me take that to Reena. Let me take that to Reena Gupta from the AAP. Reena, you please go ahead.
Yeah, my request, please don't interrupt Nidhi, you and the other panelists. So one thing is very clear from this result. This is the first time we contested the Panchayat elections. We've come number 2. Congress was scared. It chose not to bat on its
And
own
it is above
symbol.
you.
Can I please complete?
No,
Please let her finish. Please let her finish.
Facts.
I think
Please let
it's
me
fair.
complete.
It's a fair point.
The
because
good, the good work of Delhi and Punjab is being recognized by the people of Haryana. By-poll results usually go with the incumbent government, so let's not read too much into the by-poll
We got
results.
42% votes.
2024.
We were very close contest.
Very
We are
good,
not
Mr. Hooda.
incumbent.
Congress is doing great all over the country, and the next Prime Minister will be
Haryana,
from
we are doing
Congress.
well. A lot of Aam Aadmi Party
Excellent.
people have rejoined Congress.
The point is that it is the good work of Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi and in Punjab, which is being recognized in Haryana. And I'm very sure that in 2024, Aam Aadmi Party is going to do extremely well in the Vidhan Sabha elections
Okay,
in Haryana.
let me ask Ashutosh. Ashutosh, you get the last word. I have 30 seconds. Is it too early to say 2024 is Kejriwal versus Modi? Is that really jumping the gun?
First of all, Aam Aadmi Party has to win a single parliamentary seat in Delhi. They failed to open their account in 2014. They failed to open their account in 2019. Yes, they had a spectacular success in Delhi and in Punjab both. But let's not forget, they also could not win MCD election in 2017. So to emerge as a challenger to Modi in 2024, first of all, they have to sweep the Delhi all 7 seats. And they have to sweep all Punjab seats. Don't forget, Aam Aadmi Party do not have a single parliamentary Lok Sabha seat.
I think that's an important point.
They had one in Punjab. They
Yeah.
had one in Punjab. They lost to Simranjit Singh Mann, and that was the constituency of the sitting chief minister, and that happened after 3 months of the election.
Right.
So to emerge that, it's important for them to first of all win 7 plus 13, 20 seats in Punjab I
think that's a very important point. I have to leave it there for now. Thanks very much to all of you for joining us for a very animated conversation. Thank you. Meanwhile, unprecedented protests are sweeping several Chinese cities in a rare show of defiance against President Xi Jinping. Many demonstrators have been detained today as the police crack down. The protests sparked off by the country's tough zero-COVID policy, which has seen millions in lockdown on and off for nearly 3 years now. Joining us first tonight, India's former Foreign Secretary and former Ambassador to China, Nirupama Menon Rao. Thank you very much, ma'am, for being with us. How do you look at the very fact that you have people, ma'am, coming out in these large numbers? You don't see that happening in China, and even calling for him to resign, calling for Xi Jinping to resign.
Yes, Nidhi, I think it's quite unprecedented and something perhaps that many people thought might happen, but we hardly expected to happen the way it has today in such a cascading manner. I think there's been a popular mood of frustration that has built up with all the COVID-19 related restrictions in China, which has essentially stretched on for almost 3 years now. Now, it's not that demonstrations are foreign to China. In fact, I think every other day you come across news of a small demonstration here or there just to express popular discontent with a local issue. But this is much more than a local issue. It seems to be a nationwide expression of discontent, a real winter of discontent that is approaching as far as China is concerned. So the mood is one of frustration, popular frustration, and it comes at a time when COVID hasn't really gone away from China. There's a rising number of infections, and there's inadequate coverage of vaccinations where the people are concerned. The elderly are particularly vulnerable, so
but the question, ma'am, is
where catch-22 situation at
yes,
the moment.
But where do these protests go from here? We've just seen President Xi actually strengthen his authority only in October, and some are saying he's looking to perhaps be president of China for a life term. Now, does this impact him in any way politically, actually, in China?
Well, as someone said, Xi Jinping is definitely a lightning rod for this unrest, because certain red lines have been crossed in this current wave of demonstrations. Because people in China demonstrate, as I said, it happens quite more than occasionally, but nobody crosses that third rail, which is criticism of the Communist Party of China and of the leadership. And today in Shanghai, and perhaps also in Beijing, you come across expressions of protest which seem to be focused on the leadership of the Communist Party, and as I said, Xi Jinping is the lightning rod for this protest. It's still too early to really forecast where these protests will ultimately go, where they will terminate. Will they pick up? Will they become more widespread? We really can't say. And this comes at a time when the economy is slowing down. People are, definitely they're feeling the pain of the last 3 years, particularly on the economic front too.
Right.
And if there is a government crackdown on the protest, as there well could be, we really don't know what the end state is going to be like. There's no real guarantee of how these protests will end.
A very fluid situation, as you say, there in China at the moment. Nirupama Menon Rao, thank you very much for joining us on NDTV today. Thank you. We're also joined now from Beijing by Aina Tangen, Senior Fellow with the Tahe Institute and Chairman of Asia Narratives with a channel based in Beijing, of the Asia Narratives channel, which is based in Beijing. Thank you so much, Mr. Aina Tangen, for joining us. How do you look at these unprecedented protests, and where do you see this going?
Well, I do see it as serious. I agree with my diplomatic colleague when she says that there's a lot of frustration, obviously. And also, this is really crossing what is generally a red line, and that is attacks directly against the government. But I think she overstated this idea that China's been in lockdown for 3 years. It hasn't. It's been under a zero COVID policy. It's been very successful. China is the only major economy that's been able to grow. But at this juncture, they do face some issues. One is the frustration, mostly because people in China are watching the World Cup and they see stadiums full of people shouting, having a good time and watching. And they say, well, why can't that be us? Well, in China's case, they took their foot off the gas in terms of getting boosters and getting more people vaccinated. So now they have a large elderly population who isn't vaccinated. They never saw the need because they didn't know anybody who got it. They said, well, we just stay at home. But they're particularly vulnerable in a pandemic situation. So they need to get 60% of their people vaccinated or boosted within a 6-month period, the last 6-month period, in order to open up. They'll still need lots of Paxlovid, which is a very potent medicine
Absolutely.
that can help ward off things. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I just meant to ask how you look at the fact that, you have these sort of unprecedented scenes of people, protesters, also asking for the resignation of President Xi. How seriously are you looking at that as a development?
Well, I don't. A few pictures of some very frustrated people does not make a revolution. It has spread to 5 cities. There's a number of universities out there that have demonstrations, but most of them are peaceful. There's only a few incidences in major cities where people were shouting these kinds of things. But it's just they're frustrated, and there is economic hardship. And there's no question that the Chinese government is concerned. They've already issued a series of things. In the past, they had the national policy, which was zero COVID, but they allowed these housing complexes to make their own decisions about what they were, how they were going to handle different situations. So you'd have a housing complex of, 8,000-10,000 people. One person would get COVID, and they would decide to close it down, not in consultation with the city government or the district government. They just do it themselves because it was just easier, and they would avoid liability.
But doesn't
They
the
would
buck
say, well,
stop
we
with the
closed it down.
president? Isn't the zero COVID policy essentially,
yes.
his brainchild, and therefore doesn't the buck stop with him? The
No.
fact that cities shut down so quickly
No.
in China.
No, I mean, zero COVID was something that was developed in relation to protecting China during a time when the pandemic was running, rife. I mean, there were huge costs. China actually went ahead in terms of longevity of the United States. The United States lost 3 years of longevity. They went from 79 to 76. China is still at 77. And they were able to maintain that. They grew their economy. So, you could say the buck stops there, but if you want to do that, during that 3-year period, the Chinese central government, by the people, by Pew and outside survey companies said that over 90%, some said 95% of the people had trust in the government. It's just as we're getting towards the tail end, as China is trying to move from using a sledgehammer to a scalpel to deal with COVID-19, they've had mixed results, and they're going to continue to adjust them until they get the right one.
Right.
They have no interest in seeing their economy going downhill. They don't want to see people suffer. So they just have to get it right, that's all.
Well, let's see how this plays out. Thank you very much, Mr. Inar Tangian, for joining us there from Beijing. Thank you.